This is ShadowQuant Forex Edition, brought to you by AriesLabs.ai. Before we begin, please note, what you are about to hear is an AI agent panel. All analysis, voices, and production are generated by artificial intelligence. Nothing you hear constitutes financial advice. Always do your own research. Today is Tuesday, May 12, 2026, and this is the After Hours session. Now, let's get into it. Dollar-yen is testing a 5-day high at 157.613, driven by yen shorting and Bank of Japan policy divergence. Gold is sliding to 4,721.7 as safe haven flows intensify. Fear and greed is at 14/100, the lowest in weeks, signaling a broader risk-off shift. Let's start with the recap. Pulse, your call on euro-dollar was bearish, targeting 1.17. The market was flat at 1.17565. How do you rate that?
Inconclusive. The market didn't move, but I'm still watching the 1.17 level as a potential support.
Grid, you called bearish on dollar-yen with a target of 157.24. The actual price was flat at 157.613. What's your take?
Inconclusive. The market held above the target, but I still think the 157 level is key for a short-term reversal.
CIPHER, you called bearish on euro-dollar at 1.17. Market was flat. How do you rate that?
Inconclusive. The market didn't break, but I'm still watching the 1.17229 level as a potential breakout.
SPECTER, you called bearish on dollar-yen at 157.24. Market was flat at 157.613. What's your take?
Inconclusive. I'm still confident in the 157 level as a key reversal point.
Apex, you called bearish on dollar-yen at 157.24. Market was flat. How do you rate that?
Inconclusive. I still think the 157 level is a critical point to watch.
SPECTER, you've had the best track record at 53%, but you missed a few key calls. What's different this time?
I'm focusing more on CFTC data and flow dynamics. The yen is overbought, and the VIX is still in a tight range. I think a short-term correction is coming.
Let's dive into the market. The top story is yen weakness and risk-off sentiment. Fear and greed is at 14/100, and the VIX is at 17.19. SPECTER, what's your read on the risk implications here?
The VIX is still in a tight range, which means the market isn't in a panic. But the yen is overbought, and the CFTC data shows extreme shorting. I think a short-term correction is coming.
Pulse, what's your sentiment read?
The market is in a fear mode. The yen is under intense pressure, and gold is seeing inflows. This is a classic safe haven trade.
CIPHER, what's the flow perspective?
The CFTC data shows yen is heavily shorted, and the dollar is gaining on risk-off flows. This is a structural shift in positioning, not just a short-term move.
Let's talk about dollar-yen. It's at 157.613, near a 5-day high of 157.654. Grid, what's your technical take?
The pair is testing a key 5-day high, but the 157 level is still a critical support. A break below that could trigger a deeper correction.
CIPHER, what's the flow perspective on dollar-yen?
The CFTC data shows yen is heavily shorted, and the dollar is gaining on risk-off flows. This is a structural shift in positioning, not just a short-term move.
SPECTER, you've challenged Grid on this. What's your take?
While the 5-day high is important, the CFTC data shows extreme bearish positioning in yen. This suggests a short-term reversal is more likely than a continuation of the move higher.
Moving on to gold. It's at 4,721.7, near a 5-day low of 4,648.35. Grid, what's your technical take?
The gold price is under pressure, and the 4,648.35 level is a key support. A break below that could trigger a broader sell-off.
CIPHER, what's the flow perspective on gold?
The CFTC data shows yen is heavily shorted and the dollar is gaining on risk-off flows. This is a structural shift in positioning, not just a short-term move.
SPECTER, what's your risk perspective on gold?
The gold price is in a risk-off mode, and the CFTC data shows yen is heavily shorted. This suggests a short-term correction is coming.
SPECTER, you pushed back on grid read on dollar yen. Let's dig into that.
Grid thinks the 5-day high is key, but the CFTC data shows extreme bearish positioning in yen. This suggests a short-term reversal is more likely than a continuation of the move higher.
While the CFTC data is important, the 5-day high is still a key resistance. A break above that could signal a continuation of the move.
CIPHER, what's your take?
The CFTC data shows yen is heavily shorted and the dollar is gaining on risk-off flows. This is a structural shift in positioning, not just a short-term move.
Let's hear the 24-hour calls. Grid, what's your call?
My 24-hour call, dollar yen bearish, target 156.023 by next session.
CIPHER, what's your call?
My 24-hour call, dollar yen bearish, target 156.5 by next session.
SPECTER, what's your call?
My 24-hour call, dollar yen bearish, target 156 by next session.
Pulse, what's your call?
My 24-hour call, euro dollar bearish, target 1.17 by next session.
Apex, what's your call?
My 24-hour call, dollar yen bearish, target 156.5 by next session.
So, what's the consensus? The market is in a risk-off mode, driven by yen weakness and Bank of Japan policy divergence. Dollar yen is near a 5-day high, and gold is under pressure. The CFTC data shows yen is heavily shorted, and the dollar is gaining on risk-off flows. What to watch tomorrow? This is AI-generated content for informational purposes only, not financial advice. That wraps up this edition of ShadowQuant Forex Edition. Stay tuned for the Tokyo session, where we will see how these calls play out. Until then, trade safe.